Hi everyone, Melissa Gross here, and today I'm going to share a flip through of several of my scrapbook albums with you. I am a coach in Stacy Julian's Photo Freedom class where she teaches her system for organizing photos and organizing scrapbook layouts. Now what she does is she divides her scrapbook layouts into four components. Us, which is about her family, people, so it's all about us, and then people we love, which is the other people, extended family, friends, places to remember, which are places they go, their home, that kind of thing, and then all the things, where she includes things, activities, things that they do, everyday life, holidays, colors, seasons, lots of different things. Now, all of her layouts are in those particular albums, other than if she has like a special mini album or something. For me, I actually create yearly chronological albums. So I have an album for 2017 and 2018 and 2019. Some of those years have more than one. But I also have category albums, albums that are about us, about me and my husband and our relationship and our personality. I have people albums that are about people in our family and our friends. I have, instead of places albums, I actually have a travel category. So a lot of our travel layouts are either in mini albums, they're in their own 12 by 12 scrapbook. All of those travel albums are separate and they are on a shelf that I call our travel memories. And then I also have a category called things. And so what I'm going to do today is just share a flip through of my things albums to kind of show you as a comparison. Some of you, many of you watching this, have taken Stacy Julian's Photo Freedom class, and so I want you to just see a little difference. It's just another view. There's no right way or wrong way for you to organize your albums, but this is how I do it, knowing that I also have chronological albums. It'll give you an idea of what type of layouts I put in my things category. All right, so here we go. We're going to look at four different albums that I consider to be part of the things category in my library of memories. Okay, to start with, I have two albums, two volumes of Things That Matter. So we're going to flip through Things That Matter. These are 12 by 12 albums. I believe most of these are all 12 by 12 pages, although I do oftentimes mix different size pages in my album. So I have this title page. It's actually doesn't match my album. If you're following Stacy Julian, you know she made new navigation pages. When I took her class many, many years ago, I originally had some brown albums. I don't feel the need to change this title page. It's fine with me. These are things that matter. I have also a little bit of kind of a dedication page. So I have a scripture, which I have at the beginning of most of my albums, and then some pictures that represent things. Then within this album, I have a couple of categories. So this first category is food and cooking. And if you look right up here, you'll see that I just have a tab that says food and cooking. Actually, all that is, it's a 6 by 12 piece of cardstock with the punched tab on it that I just slipped down between the two layouts in this first page protector. So these first layouts are going to be about food and cooking. This is about a little container that my husband gave me filled with chocolate when we were dating. This is pictures of us in the different kitchens of the different homes that we've lived in. Here's one about how my husband often brings me a Coke with a little snack, and he always makes it really cute. So these are layouts that don't necessarily go within 1 year. This here is what Stacy Julian calls a connection story. My husband and I, back in 2010, went and visited Eisenhower, President Eisenhower's birthplace, and we took these two pictures. And if you see the dishes here, we actually came home. I took this picture of my husband with two of the exact same dishes from this time period. They are from his family, and they came out west on a wagon back then. And I thought that was such a neat connection. I wrote the story about seeing it there and recognizing that. So that's a thing. Here's just about my love of setting the table really nice. Different time periods in those pictures. Here's a story that actually goes in the year 2004. This was Thanksgiving, and a really funny story. We made a Cornish hen and put it on a platter and told my parents that we were poor college students. We were both finishing up degrees at that time and couldn't afford a turkey, but really there was a big turkey in the oven. So I don't actually have a 12 by 12 scrapbook for 2004. At that time, I had a picture album, which I did scrapbooky things in. So when my mother accidentally scrapbooked this story twice and gave me the extra 12 by 12, I just put it here in our things because it is about that Cornish hen. So even though this could have been in a chronological album, it fits here just fine. Doesn't matter to me that it's in a different place. Here's a story about magic cookie bars and different times that my family has enjoyed those, different funny stories. The story of me becoming the official pecan pie maker in my family. Here's another one that was a particular time period. This was in 2014, and some of you may recognize Coach Blaine from the Photo Freedom class here with me, and Amy, who is also in this class. We went to, in 2014, the Play in Anaheim event. So this could have gone in my 2014 album, but I try to keep my chronological albums. My goal is to keep them to only 2 albums. I do a lot of scrapbooking. So as I'm completing those albums and culling them down, sometimes I'll pull out a few layouts and put in my category album. So this is a great place for me to store this story about us eating dessert first. Another story here with some pizza nachos that my husband invented himself one day when he wanted to make something different. Then you'll notice I have another little tab, and this is all the things. So this section is about an actual thing. Okay, so like this is about our vehicle. Here's a story about this the map itself that my dad had framed at one time, and a funny story about that. Story about this pillow that my mom made for me. This doesn't actually have a story. This was a layout I created when I was on the design team for a local scrapbook store, and I love old typewriters, and I had used those photos to showcase these papers, and so I just put that in here. This is actually from the Story 52 class that is going on right now. I'm filming this in June of 2021. This was a tribute to shoes that I did, inspired by the Story 52 class. This is about a statue at our library. This is a layout about time. Doesn't have any pictures. It was another thing that I created for a design team, but I love it. I hung it on the wall at different times, use it for display, and this is a good place for it to rest when it's not on display. This is about all the old pictures you find when you go to flea markets and just wondering, a little thing I wrote up about wondering, where are all the people? Another one about shoes. A sure sign that all of my nieces and nephew are here is when there are a lot of shoes in the guest room. This is about a chimenea that my husband gave me for Christmas one year. And this is several pages here. I participate in a summer photography scavenger hunt, and this could have gone in 2013. This was the 2013 hunt, but again, I took that out of those albums and put it here, and I wrote a little note. These are all the different items that I found on the scavenger hunt during that summer. So this Things album is a great place for those to go. So this is Things That Matter, Volume 1. I have food and cooking in here, and then I also have all the things. All right, Things Volume 2 here. This is going to be all about activities, things that we do. And again, the title page does not match. I had originally had activities in a different album, and because for a time I used just the category albums I'd taken apart. Not taken apart previous albums, but started doing that. And after a couple of years, I knew that I really wanted the chronological album. So some of my title pages do not necessarily match. This I include as the title and the dedication page, and it has some activity. So just using that for this Things album. And as we flip through, these are things we do. We visit flea markets. I scrapbook. These are some of my nieces and nephews looking at the scrapbooks. We do crossword puzzles. It's a funny story about a crossword puzzle. We watch movies. My husband likes, I don't watch The Walking Dead. This is a TV show that he watches, and it's just a funny story about that and him acting like a walker. Games, we like to play games. I like to read. We both like to read, and this was about a book club that I did. This is about me teaching my niece to ride her bike. I actually have taught all my nieces and nephews to ride their bikes. This is about Harry Potter. So this is kind of the whole story of us reading the Harry Potter books, seeing all the Harry Potter movies, all the different places we were able to see a movie. We saw one in London, different things like that. I'm actually here in Texas. We go to the library, and I attended a book club there. This is ice skating. This is pictures of me teaching each one of my nieces to ice skate. And then we do puzzles. So this was a little funny story about puzzles. So here, these are different activities. This is in Things We Do, Volume 2. You can see both of these, Volume 1 and Volume 2, there's plenty of room to add additional layouts. So as I make a layout, I can slip it in there. So one of the things that I will often do, let's say I have completed 2020. I actually scrapbooked all of 2020. Last year, I finished it up early this year because we were home, right? We didn't have a lot of travel. There weren't a lot of different activities. So that album is complete. And I went through it to get it into the album. I took a couple of things out. But let's say I come across a story that I want to tell. That's fine. I can make a layout. I can put it in Things or our home album, or I can put it in a travel album. Well, not travel for 2020, but I could put it in a people album. It's fine. I don't necessarily have to make a place for it. This is a newer Things album, and it's going to be about our homes. I want to make a title page with pictures of the 4 homes that my husband and I have lived in so far. And then again, I did those tabs and I just put the address of each home. Our first home, I only have this one page right now. It came out of a 2002 album when I repainted the washroom. The next 2 homes, I have not really started on those sections yet, but our current home, I do have a picture, kind of a title page here. I've got my tab up here. I have a page from a couple of years ago about how we just like hanging out at home. And then from my 2020 album, could have been in the chronological album, but I pulled it out. We actually painted the back door red during the year last year, so it kind of shows some of the change in our home. So I went ahead and put that in here. So I'm pretty excited to be starting on this album. I'll be flipping back through some of my older layouts as I kind of go through previous years. I'll pull some things to go in here, and then I'll be creating new layouts. I have lots of photos that I've been collecting in my category drawers that I will be, because I've always envisioned doing a home album. Now, if you're following Stacy Julian, you'll know that she actually puts her home, she includes that in her places section, but because I do mine a little different with travel, I consider home one of the things, and I just got a matching album as a thing. Also, Stacy Julian does her holidays and traditions as in her things category. Most holidays and traditions are going to be in the yearly, like if it was Easter 2020, it's in the 2020 album. If it was Christmas 2015, it's in the 2015 album. But I do have a Christmas album, and this is kind of all those extra layouts. This is for connections layouts, or if I make something from a year that I already consider complete. So I've got a title page here, a little dedication page with a couple of Christmas photos and a scripture, and then just some random layouts. This was our Christmas tree in our first home, and I've already scrapbooked that whole year. I did this for a design team layout, so I'll put that in here. This is a story of this big stocking that my husband bought me when we were dating. This was actually a challenge in a class that I took. You know, sometimes you love those layouts and aren't sure where to put them, but this was about our tradition of always buying special wrapping paper for each other, and I was able to tell that story. This is a great place to put it in the Christmas Things album. These are some stories about surprises at Christmas time during my childhood. Just photos of my husband and I for 4 years in a row, how we always take a picture of each of us with our, we call it the haul, whatever our gifts are. This about our stockings, and it's a picture of our stockings in each of the homes that we've lived in, the Christmas stockings we've been using. A little thing, we had our picture taken with Santa Claus at a flea market, and just a little thing about how, you know, we like Santa Claus, we like decorating with Santa Claus. This is a little layout about how I like to send Christmas cards. I still like to actually mail Christmas cards every year. Me reading Christmas story books, picture story books to some of my different nieces and nephews and friends over the years. This was about an ornament exchange. This was 4 different years. Again, a connecting 4 years of the same event on one layout that an ornament exchange a friend of mine hosted. Just a funny thing, I had these 2 pictures I ran across in my category drawers one day of my mom with this skirt around her. She had had neck surgery that year, and we were taking a funny photo. And then one year she was helping me decorate, and she had the tree skirt around her, and I just kind of made a little fun layout and wrote a little bit about my mom. This is the way I always look funny when I'm decorating. It was perfect. So again, I don't in this album have each Christmas through the years represented. I just have miscellaneous Christmas layouts. And I also have several Christmas mini albums, and these all are on one shelf. And at Christmas, I take them out, and they're a lot of fun to flip through. So these are the albums I would consider my things: Christmas, the home album, and then 2 things that matter albums. So I've got 4 albums for my things category, very different from what we've seen in Stacy's album. So I just wanted to give you a different look at different albums and remind you that however you store your albums, it's the right way. However you enjoy storing your albums. Maybe you want all categories, maybe you want different categories, maybe you want chronological only, maybe you want chronological and category. It's all okay. It's doing something with some of your photos. Okay, so there you have it, a flip through of my things category albums. I hope this has been helpful. If you're in the Photo Freedom classroom, you can kind of compare what I've shown you to Stacy's albums and just create what works for you. You can go to my blog at melissagross.com and search Library of Memories and Photo Freedom if you're interested in learning more about my system. And if you want to know where all of this came from, all the inspiration is from Stacy Julian's Library of Memories and her Photo Freedom system. You can go to stacyjulian.com, and she has a free mini course that will introduce you to her system if you want to learn more. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have fun looking through some of your scrapbooks and seeing how you want to categorize your layouts. Thanks so much for watching, y'all.